What is a situation where common sense will actually make things worse? If someone has something impales in them, do not take it out. You could cause so much more damage and possibly cause them to bleed out faster. Put pressure around the edges of the item and hold the person still while waiting for emergency services. Shopping. Marketing takes advantage of predictable consumer behavior and manipulates you all the time. Consumer common sense just makes you more vulnerable to manipulation. 1. X is more expensive than Y, so X must be better quality. 2. If X is 100 and Y is 200, Y is expensive. But if X is 100, Y is 200, and Z is 400, Z is expensive and Y is moderately priced, etc. Throwing water on a grease fire. When an airplane starts stalling and drops in altitude, anyone who's inexperienced will instinctively pull the nose up, which will make you stall even more and probably enter a flat spin. The correct course of action is somewhat counterintuitive, and it's to push the nose down to gain airspeed. Moving someone in a major car accident. It's tempting to help a passenger out of the car and away from the scene. Unless there's a clear reason to do so, you should leave them in the car and wait for first responders. If there's a spinal injury, e.g., a fracture, moving them without a spine collar, a stiff collar that holds the neck straight, can result in a spinal cord injury, e.g., quadriplegia for life. Deleted. Trying to swim back to shore. If you're caught in a riptide, you absolutely won't make any progress, and you'll just exhaust yourself. Swim parallel to the shore for a while, until you're out of the current, and then back to shore. An argument against an idiot. Predicting what other drivers on the road will do next. Safe driving is about expecting the unexpected. Quantum theory. I learned this in a self-defense class. Don't do the Wolverine keys between your fingers thing. It may look intimidating, but you're only going to hurt yourself. Oh man. Common sense makes my job so much harder. It seems like everyone thinks that you need to scrub your whole body down with soap and a loofah every day for some reason, and then put Neosporin on all their cuts. Most problems I see are self-caused. I'm dermatologist. If for whatever reason you found yourself stranded in the desert, and you had some water with you, common sense might lead you to believe you should ration out the water to try and make it last longer. This is the exact opposite of what you should do. Whenever you're thirsty, drink until you're at least quenched. Being thirsty is the first sign of dehydration, and you will need to be hydrated for the best odds of survival. Keeping hydrated will help your body cool off, and if you get too dehydrated you will become weaker and eventually delirious, which is the last thing you want. I've heard of people being found dead in the desert with plenty of water still on them. A lot of antiquated common sense in business management that somehow still survives to this day. In particular, the belief that working more hours means more productivity. That time and output exist on a linear scale. Human beings are like batteries. We wake up every morning with a particular reserve of ducks. We give some ducks to our hygiene, some ducks to our outfit, some ducks for breakfast, and then waste a lot of ducks driving to work. Then we give whatever ducks we have left until we are out of ducks to give. Sorry boss, my decommit is drained. You're not going to get 3 hours worth of ducks by simply asking for it. My ducks runneth empty. So when everyone's making work like they don't give a duck, that's not their fault. That's the fault of the management that can't gauge our ducking output. Then we still have to drive the duck home, make ducking dinner, and try to ducking unwind, putting us in a ducking deficiency. So we go right back onto our ducking recharges and get 3 less hours of ducking time too. So more ducks for the next day, resulting in a depleting ducking cycle with the preceding days diminishing progressively to duck all. Thanks, you Straight Jacket Racket, for finding the song. I'm not gonna pretend I'm some original smarmy poet and that I came up with the concept on my own. That song planted a seed a long time ago. I couldn't remember where I got it. And I'm just now being reminded that it has sprouted in my brain into what I wrote above. The way people respond to first aid for eye injuries is often surprising. Many people try to remove a foreign body in the eye or up their eye due to itchiness, pain, which you shouldn't do. Maybe this doesn't relate to common sense as much, but alkali injuries, toilet cleaners, oven cleaners, are far worse than acid-related injuries in the eye. Often acid quickly denatures proteins in the eye, forming a boundary and inadvertently stopping the spread. Alkali injuries are often less painful, but more likely to cause permanent damage, e.g., blindness. People present to the ED much slower for alkali injuries because they are less painful. Acid-related injuries sound more serious, but alkali is far worse. Basic military training. Anything involving exponentials. A grease fire on the stove. Common sense says that fire, water, no fire, but that's not quite the case. The stock market money printer go by puts. Writing an essay. Don't write your introduction first. Write it last, so it says exactly what is in the essay. Chances are, the paper you're writing will evolve slightly, so it's easier to do the intro in retrospect. From what I have heard, sometimes being in the military, moving to try get out of quicksand, putting hot water on a frostbite to warm up. When you're trying to navigate office politics, leave common sense at the door. It's all illogical from here, friends. When you choose to try and solve her problem instead of letting her vent about it to you, don't fall on that grenade, man. Talking politics on Reddit. Common sense implies general knowledge or reliance on gut feeling. Human brains are horrible at gauging odds over time. Yeah, we can do the math on paper, but in the moment we suck. So, that being said, anything that isn't a fight or flight response will quite possibly lead you astray. Apparently in investing in stocks, for the past 27 years, I've followed the market closely, and my boss has talked to me a lot about that. He learned to bet against me, and has made tens of millions. For example, if any company makes a great product like Sun or Red Hat, he short sold them, since I recommended them. I keep seeing Microsoft produce insecure garbage that they never fix. So he bought Microsoft stock on margin, and made enough to buy a new house on Lake Washington. Basically, if a company makes too good of a product, then they are investing too much in the product versus marketing. Companies selling sizzle rather than steak are the ones that seem to always be successful. It's depressing to know that you can make money by always betting against yourself. Dealing with an irrational person. Common sense says, explain yourself politely. It will open a pleasant discourse. Nope. Doesn't work. It's like playing chess with a pigeon. They're going to crap all over the board and not care what moves you're making. Returning fire with nukes after having a nuke launched at you. If someone has hypothermia, don't throw them in a hot water bath. You need to slowly bring them back to regular temperatures. If you hit oil, ice, don't accelerate or brake. Most people panic, brake, which makes things 10x worse. In an automatic, don't brake or accelerate. Just steer into the skid. Wait for force to run out. In a manual, try to force down gears to slow down. Steer into the skid. Arguing with stupid people. Arguing with a narcissist. Quicksand. Do not try to swim or tread water. Lie on your back and float. Call for help. Dating most of the time. Voting. In the UK at least. If you lean left, your best bet is not to vote for your preferred party, but to vote for the party left of the Conservatives, Lib Dems, Labour, SNP, Greens, Plaid Cymru etc. That has the best chance of winning the constituency. It means sacrificing some ideals, but overall it's the best method to get less Conservatives, the majority party, into parliament. When playing the impossible quiz, a lot of times the obvious answer is never right and you have to think about the strange pun. trying to comfort someone with a phobia. Illogical fear with common sense. Like, I know I studied for hours for that test, and when you just asked me a bunch of questions I knew everything. But that won't stop me from panicking. Don't tell me the logical reasons why everything will be fine. That'll make it worse, because then I know what is expected of me. Damn, I just need a hug.